Hello, everybody. It's Friday. I'm Mover. Well, I guess that doesn't make sense. Usually it's Monday and I'm Mover. Today is a quick, I guess we'll call it quick, a quick Mover mailbag. Just wanted to catch up on some stuff you guys have sent and also answer questions. Just kind of hang out and talk for a little while. No Wombat today. And that's on Wombat, all caps, as he has reminded me many times. So it's just going to be us answering your questions. Sorry for no real pre notice, if you will. But once this is on demand, just realize this is live. I've gotten a couple of people like in the comments, like, hey, you need to shorten these up, an hour's too long or whatever. But they don't realize that it was a live video. I mean, that's why it's not necessarily edited. So let's start out. The first thing I've got is this container, so to speak. And it is from my friends over at Helicopter Association International. And for those of you that don't know, I will be at Heli Expo next Monday and Tuesday. In fact, on Tuesday, I'll be at the Lightspeed booth doing a book signing. They're actually bringing books, so I think that's pretty cool. I have not done a book signing in probably 4 years. Not sure what to expect. Not a huge fan of book signings because, well, last couple times I did them, like nobody showed up, and it was kind of weird. So it's kind of awkward. But if you're at Heli Expo, come find me. I'll be hanging out there and at the safety tent or tent exhibit, whatever. Taking some classes too, so should be a lot of fun. Not planning on doing much other than that. We're gonna drive up there. Me and Lester. Lester will be there too. Lester and I will drive to Dallas and back. So a lot of fun there. But let's read what they have sent me here. Dear Mover, that's me. On behalf of HAI, I'd like to welcome you to our family. This year, 2022, possible email. I guess I should probably close this. All right. See, that's amateur hour here. On behalf of, where was I? This year, 2022, is the first year of the Ambassador Program. We're excited to have you as part of the inaugural group. As a global leader for the VTOL community, HAI brings together rotorcraft professionals and associations from around the world. We have accomplished this by gaining the trust of our industry and through innovating, collaborating, and partnering with professionals like you who share our goals and visions. We chose you as an HAI ambassador because we admire your dedication to keeping safety as the top priority in your operations, your passion for aviation and serving others, and your willingness to share your experiences with your peers. Your expertise, personality, work ethic, and influence make you a great addition to our team, and we are happy to have you. I'm excited to meet you at HAI Heli Expo 2022, Dallas, March 7th through 10th. Exhibits open 8th through 10th. The time for our meet and greet has not yet been set, so please stay tuned for more details. I think that's Monday night, maybe. I have to look. I've got a schedule. In addition to meeting at the Expo, HAI may ask you to attend future meetings where we will seek your personal input on our projects and programs. After the show, we'll discuss our plans for the rest of your team, of your term as an HAI ambassador, provide you with an updated content calendar with important events, releases, and messages. Again, welcome and thank you for your time and support. I'm confident this relationship will be mutually beneficial to both you and HAI. Sincerely, James Viola, President. And they have sent me swag. Hat. Keep the rotors turning. It's a good idea. Rotor.org. So, cool hat. And a shirt. And the shirt says, it's a Heli Expo shirt. Yeah? Cool? Check this out, though. Here's the, yeah. So if you see this shirt, it's me. Hashtag CW. That's funny. That's cool. Thanks, guys. Looking forward to it. Should be a great time next week. We will do a video on it, on the experience going out there and checking it out. I'm actually probably going to get some floor time prior to the event, so that'll be cool. The other thing I got mail-wise was from Joe. And Joe has sent some keychains. VAQ 129 Vikings EA18G Growler. Removed before flight. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Let's see, what is this? A3 Sky Warrior. Okay. In there. Yep. And then, yeah, A3 Sky Warrior. That's pretty cool. And Joe says, I work at VAQ 129 as civil service. I'm a member of the A3 Sky Warrior Association. I had these made up. Enjoy, Joe. That's awesome. Joe, send me an email how people can order them because I'm sure people would want something similar for themselves. People are always asking about swag. That's cool. All right. Let's see. Skid says, have fun at the Catalina wine mixer. Let's see. Let's see what kind of questions and stuff we have. Let's see. If you were to pilot for a sheriff's office, do you also have to qualify as a police officer? Depends on the agency. Some say yes, some do not. Usually, at the very least, the TFO is. But as for the pilot, it just depends on the agency. They do get a commission, but whether they have to go through post, which is the academy, or not, depends on the agency. At my agency, I think only a couple of the pilots actually went through post, but we no longer have a helicopter, so that's no longer a thing. Mover, can I have a Folds of Honor shirt? You can make a donation at foh.org, and they will send you one. I don't keep any shirts. I have no stock of such things. Would you consider serving as a freelance fighter jet and help Ukraine? You know, we talked about this on the last one with Wombat, and my answer right now would be no. Were our nation's interests at play directly, I would definitely serve my country, but me being a mercenary for another country is not something that I would do as of right now. 2 live videos in 1 week. Hell yeah. There you go, man. How many times did you want to say so to speak during the interview with Andre? Yeah. When you have guests, you have to be polite. You have to be professional. So that's what I did. He's awesome. That was such a great interview. I love talking to the guy. I hope we get to meet someday. Just awesome. Let's see. Have you ever watched Stadium Super Trucks? I have not. No. Let's see. And then there was Skid. Have fun at the Catalina wine mixer. Yep. Heli Expo should be fun. We'll bring the band. Got a P.O. Box. Yes, I do. Let's see if it's on here. It is not. It's P.O. Box 8594, Mandeville, Louisiana, 70470. And then they say, Gonky always shows up. Bring Gonky, more ladies will show up to the booth. Wow. Yeah. Have you ever seen the Hill helicopter, Pilot Yellow? No way it ever flies for anywhere near the cost they're proposing. I've seen a couple videos, but I don't look at stuff until it's real. So once it's real, yeah. I may have missed this. Did you ever end up tracking the 01? Overall, yes, I have tracked it once, melted the emblems off the back. Have not been back. It seems like every time I plan for a track day, something comes up, whether it's weather or something else happens. So I've not been able to do that just yet, but I'm hoping to do a track night in America in April. But it's kind of tough to want to track it considering how collectible it is these days. How well would Russian air power hold up to U.S. air power if they were to go to war? I'm going to give you the weapon school answer of it depends. I would not take anything that's happened here and say that is representative of Russian air power. Now, historically, we like to overestimate them, which I think is smart because you'd rather train to an adversary that is more worthy than try to train to somebody that's not. We talk about train to fight Mike Tyson, not Mike Tyson's little brother. But it's hard to say. If Ukraine is any indication of the performance, well, they're not going to do that great. But I think there's more to the picture than we're seeing, and I think there's more to what's going on than I don't know that they're being full up. That's what I'll say. I just don't know. I'm not getting the current intel picture and all that stuff. And even if I were, obviously I wouldn't share it here. So I think it's hard to say. Something is going on with it, but I just don't know. Here's one. Hate to be the one asking, but is there any plans for DCS content? I haven't played it in a while. The last time I played was the new UH-60. I just tried it out for a little bit. Possible. It doesn't do well on the channel, so it's not really a high priority. I was really disappointed with how the F-16 versus F-18 video did. but maybe, especially when they moved. I think they're moving to the Vulkan API, which makes me sound really nerdy. And I think it's going to be, the performance should get a little bit better. So, might be worth trying, but currently there's no immediate plans. If I do any gaming, I've been playing 5PD, both as a cop and as a guy that runs from the cops and gets shot and dies with Douglas. Fan of the OSINT community. Yeah, I follow them on Twitter. Let's see here. Question from your diehard African fan. Do you feel like you've had to hold back on Air Force secrets? Well, I 100% hold back on Air Force secrets. I do not do anything that can jeopardize operational security or classified or anything for official use only or anything like that. So absolutely, that is 100% something I do on this channel. Mercenary pilot could be a good subject for your next book. It could be. I mean, it absolutely could be. Billy says, sent in my application for SNA last week. Fingers crossed. Good luck, man. Make them tell you no. If you had to go fight the Russians today, what jet would you take into combat? Of the jets that I've flown or of the jets that, are available? I mean, I'd go with, an F-22 if I'm doing air-to-air, but F-35 would be cool, an F-16 with an ESA radar, F-15EX. Yeah. What's your vision on the current Russian tactics in Ukraine? I think there's more to the story than what we know. Like, I don't think we're getting the whole picture. I think we're getting a media view and a media that doesn't necessarily understand what's going on. So it's very hard to say. And there's so much bad information and fake stuff. It's like, oh, this is a dogfight video, and it's not. It's two jets in formation. Or, oh, it's a dogfight video, and it's DCS. Like, we're not getting, at least I'm not, enough information to be able to say, here's what's happening. I will say this, though. Having a 40-mile convoy unmolested might tell me that the Ukrainians don't necessarily have the air superiority that everybody says they do. I mean, if it's such a rich target, I don't know why you'd let that stay unless it's a very contested environment. What do you think about the A-10 going to Ukraine? Is that a thing? I mean, I haven't heard that. I think it would do really well. I mean, it's made for that situation. The original design was for the Fulda Gap and, the Russians coming across the border. But I don't think we have contributed or plans to contribute anything to this conflict so far. Do you ever get VR sickness? No. The only time I ever get anything is when I play a first-person shooter. Like, I'll feel kind of not sick, well, maybe queasy. I get kind of a headache playing any kind of first-person shooter where there's a lot of movement and stuff because I use these giant screens. Can you compare the F-22 and Su-57 in short? Not really. I don't know enough about the Su-57 to really say, other than what we've seen in the air show stuff. There's just not enough. There's not enough out there. Understandable, but as the late, great Carol Shelby said, they're built to drive. At least you got to track it a couple times. That is true. They are built to drive, and I do plan on driving it. It's just, the circumstances haven't been right. It's been, whether it's been weather, I won't track it in the rain, or it's been just track availability. They repaved a lot of stuff out there, so they had shut down the track for a little while. Anything in Dallas besides heli? No plans currently to do anything in Dallas. But anyway. More streams with Ray and Doug, please, and miss the banner. Yeah. In fact, we do the game stuff just for funsies because it's a lot of fun. In fact, the other day I was on 5PD. We were both playing as bad guys, and he got arrested. So I broke it. I ended up following the guy that arrested him and then stealing the car and then trying to break him out. It's just fun stuff like that. First time I catch it live. I'm writing this mostly to show appreciation for your content. If anything, we can expect a new Mover Ruins movies when I have time. Won't be in time soon because obviously now we're going to Heli Expo on Sunday, but maybe soon. Hey Mover, do you know of any A-10 pilots that are salivating at the mouth over all that Russian armor lined up? I think it'd be easier to say, are there any A-10 pilots that are not? What variant of the Hornet? A through D is what I flew. The F-18 A through D. So A, B, C, D. Yeah, S&A is a student naval aviator, so he's going to fly it for the Navy. What would training stories for an ANG F-16 unit look like? If their mission is more air sovereignty, would they still train for air to ground? Yeah, it depends on the unit. Some of them break it up and do phase-based training. So 1 month you'll do like BFM, and then the next month you'll do intercepts, and the next month, because it's based on what maintenance puts on the aircraft. Some squadrons do both, but it's a multi-role fighter. You don't just do one mission. You'll train for everything. Mover, did you see the link I posted about the Ukrainian Su-27 aerobatic pilot that died the other day? I think people are confusing the ghost of Kiev with, or Kiev with him. I was told I was pronouncing that wrong. Kiev. So, yes, I saw that. Again, like every other piece of information that's come out of Ukraine, I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not. I know he was credited with being the ghost of Ukraine for a while, or ghost of Kiev for a while. However, do we have confirmation that he actually died? Do we have confirmation that any of this stuff has actually happened? If so, then nickel on the grass. I hate to hear that, and the story itself is awesome, even if he's not, because come out of retirement and serve his country and to go out in a blaze of glory. However, I don't know. How can you trust anything coming out of that country right now? Of the media in general. Like, how do you trust it? Apache's coming out very soon. Plan to make a video about it. I don't know. I'm not necessarily qualified to really speak to it. And you know how the DCS community feels about me doing stuff without reading the manual, because I would not read the manual at all. Boris says, thank you. It's not unmolested. It just got ambushed today. Well, that's good. Ambushed by what, though? Air. Was it attacked by air to ground aircraft? Or was it attacked by, you know, javelins and people on the ground? Let's see here. Uh, which country which country in your experience produces the most well-trained combat pilots? I'm going to say the US. I'm biased. You can't expect to ask an American fighter pilot who's the best or who's the most well-trained without me saying it's us. But I'm sure that's debatable for sure. They're not 100% sure if it was a recon unit leading the convoy or strays, but it was finally ambushed. Ambushed again by what? What are your thoughts on the Gripen E? How do you think it stacks up against the F-35? Two different aircraft. One's fifth gen, one's Gen 4.5. After talking to Saab and talking to Andre, I think it's an awesome airframe. I think it'd be cool. It's a nice, honestly, that's that F-15EX, F-16V. It's that aircraft that bridges the gap that you buy a bunch of that really does, it's the workhorse, but it's not fifth gen like an F-35. So, it's not quite there, but it's still very, very, very capable. What do you think about the use of the TB2 drone in Ukraine? And I heard a thing, and that's the thing about what do you know, or what can you say? Because I saw a thing about that was saying some of that drone footage wasn't even up to date or accurate or real. Like, so it's like, what do you believe? I just don't know. All right, how different is being a pilot for, say, a bomber like the Boner Buff, say a fighter jet? Secondly, how excited are you to see the Top Gun movie? Well, the first part of your question, it's totally different. One's a crew aircraft, so you're doing things as a crew. It's a different mentality. You don't go to IFF. You're not really in a single seat mindset. Flying a fighter, you have a single seat mindset. Now, granted, the Strike Eagle Bubba's are two seats and they're a crew aircraft, but it's just vastly different. It's vastly different in mentality and training, and how we approach different problems. Secondly, how excited are you to see the new Top Gun movie? I'm kind of over it, man. We'll see what happens. We'll see if it even releases May 27th. Who knows? This Ukrainian thing may push it back again. So here we go. Uh, Honestly, it's kind of ironic hearing about a fighter pilot getting motion sickness from playing FPSs. Yeah, it's different. You're not in motion. That's the problem. Is your eyes are telling you one thing, and your inner ear is telling you something totally different. The country of Ukraine is a man and finds me oddly attractive. Date. No, you can go date Gonki if you want. He's the pretty one. I'm not into dudes. How long? How long time does it take to train a pilot to a different fighter? For example, MiG 29 to Su 27. In the military, because of the bureaucracies and whatnot, it takes about 8 weeks to get full up on just flying the thing. That's not including mission qualification training and stuff. What adversary air programs do, it's about 2 weeks to go. Like if you were transitioning with one of the contract red air companies, it would be about a week to 2 weeks. A week for ground school and a week for flying, and then you get checked out, assuming you're experienced. So I think realistically, because I know this is maybe referencing the Ghost, a couple weeks, but that's just to fly the thing, and then you have to be proficient in using the radar, using the systems and stuff. It would be tough to get to hop in with less than a month's worth of training to go do it. Have you ever owned a C5? They're talking about the Corvette. If so, what do you think? Yeah, I had my first new Corvette was a 2002 Electron Blue Z06. I love that car. It was awesome. Terrible in the rain when the tires, because those Goodyears, the supercar tires, lasted like 3,000 miles or something ridiculous. It was terrible in the rain, but it was a good car. It was fun. Um, the Ghost of now this one's Kiev died today in a DF with 5 Russian Sioux. May rest in peace. I doubt that. I seriously doubt that. Not saying it's impossible. I doubt it. I mean, I think the ghost thing is maybe not exactly true. Yeah, and Calvin says the same thing. The ghost is nonsense, fictional character. Anything besides Helly? Oh, I think you guys are asking the same questions. Of the books you've written, which is your favorite? There. It depends. I really enjoyed Finney Flight. Finney Flight was probably one of my favorite to write, but I've loved the Alex Shepard series, and I Am the Sheepdog was really fun to write because it kind of I always loved the story of the badass who's trying to live a normal life and then gets drawn back into it, a la Equalizer, John Wick, stuff like that. And that's kind of what that story is. So I've always enjoyed and kind of gravitated towards those. But Finney Flight was fun because learning about the Russian hardware that we used in that book was pretty cool. Plus North Korea and all that stuff. But I think those two would probably be the most fun. What are your thoughts on the West response? Too hard, too soft. I know you were talking about getting back to the corners. Is there anything you would have liked to see done differently? I think we could have probably prevented this diplomatically well before. I think, once it's happened, there's not a lot you can do because, I mean, unless short of war, we're going to go to war with Russia. But once it got to this point, it was really nothing else we can do. And then yeah, propaganda machines on both sides are at 110% speed, and that's 100% true. Be fun if they can get you to visit the CAF headquarters at Dallas. Yeah, that'd be cool. Probably worth another. I probably won't have time. Probably worth another thing. So it was a ground ambush on the convoy, and that goes back to my original point. If the Ukraine, if the Russians don't have air superiority, I would think that convoy would have gotten attacked much sooner from the air. What are the rules or idea of having your name painted on the jet? Does it always happen? No, it doesn't always happen. Actually, I didn't have my name on a two fits jet on the T-38, but typically they have a list, and just whatever jet comes up, they say, "Hey, this is your jet. That's cool," and they put your name on it. It's not a huge deal. Hey, Mover, just logged on, found you doing the live show. Made my evening, to be frank. I'm in Sweden. I must say your interview with Andre was very, very good. So when will you get a ride in a 39? You'll have to ask them. That would be cool. I'd like to fly it, not just ride. I'm not a very good passenger. I'm more of a driver, if you will, not a rider. What are your thoughts on the F4E coming to DCS? Sounds fun to me. I mean, that whole Vietnam era would be really cool. There used to be what was it, Jane's Anthology that had World War II, or sorry, Vietnam stuff in it. Jane's used to have some stuff. Random question: did politics kill the F-22 or the Air 35 fit the bill? No, the F-22 was killed by politics, and that's what made it so expensive. First casualty of war is the truth. Henry is correct. What is your call sign in DCS? Mover. Same as in real life. Mover. I've heard several times that jets don't land with live ordnance and therefore jettison prior. Is this true? If so, sounds super expensive. Absolutely false. I've landed with live ordnance. You go to the live ordnance loading area and they can download the bombs. That is not, that would, I mean, my entire deployment, we always came back, or almost always, mostly came back with live ordnance. Well, always, yeah, because, I mean, the live AMRAAMs, I didn't shoot anybody down. So, yeah, we always came back with some live ordnance. So that's absolutely false. All right, what else we got here? Let me take a break from the comments and answer your questions from the email because I haven't done those in a while. Hi, Mover. I'm 17. Haven't decided if I'm going to a civilian university to do aerospace engineering or joining the Air Force in Germany. I'd like to know how the German program compares to the American, if it's worth it. So the program there is 11 months military training, 5 years university for a bachelor, master's in aerospace engineering, get into the service as an officer, pipeline in a platform corresponding to your uni fitness scores. Target platform is the Eurofighter or the F-35. They make up on their promise to buy some. Once I sign the paper, I'm obligated to serve 16 years. So around 10 after getting out of uni. I guess that's university. The university has a pretty good reputation. Job market after it's getting out, as far as I know. Compensation is around 3497 must be a month. The information on compensation once you rank up is not available publicly, but I have a Zoom meeting with a recruiter when I ask him questions. I'm taking into account the German defense budget went up 100 billion euros and will stay above 2% GDP because they're writing it into the Constitution. Thanks for reading this. Well, that's a lot more than what we do, but I'm not sure I understand your question. Flying fighters worth it? Yes. Serving your country worth it? Yes. 16 years is a long time, but I mean, hey, that's your career, and if that's the way in, make them tell you no and make it happen. So, yeah, I would definitely do that. All right, this next one, let's see. Hey, Mover, it's about flight radar. Brent asks, well, I've been a long-time viewer for your videos. I noticed in the last two videos you had Wombat. He actually used all caps. Wombat will be pleased. On several viewers asked questions regarding the KC-135 and KC-10's doing in the Polish airspace. I think a better question would be, why are we able to see those types of aircraft on a medium such as Flight Radar 24 or other aircraft tracking platforms? I'm an aviation fan and check Flight Radar frequently and notice those types of aircraft along with your T-38s and other military aircraft all times areas over the U.S., including today an RQ-4 Global Hawk in European airspace. I feel military aircraft, regardless of the aircraft, tankers, trainers, cargos, or fighters, should be viewable in such a way, especially given the nature of current events in Europe. I guess he meant should not be viewable. I understand that Russia or other countries would have technology to track the same aircraft regardless of flight radar, but civilians such as myself seems a bit unnecessary. I understand you may not be able to answer the question, but wanted to ask. Appreciate your time. So, Brent, what you're seeing is Mode S. So it's the new in 2020. All aircraft had to be Mode S compliant for their FAA thing. It's just a transponder version. It's transponder mode. So T-38s, we had to get them. Fighters don't have it, and you won't see them on ADS-B, and it's something you can turn off. So all you're seeing is them using ADS-B, and they're in civilian airspace in peacetime. Even though Ukraine's at war, we're at peace. So we turn all that stuff off. We go to war, they won't see it. So not a huge deal. This comes from JP. Escalation of war. Do you think the escalation of the conflict in Ukraine and possibly NATO involvement may make Red Air more valuable to the USAF and get you back in the saddle, so to speak, in the T-38 to help train pilots that may end up in combat in Europe? No. I think budgets and all that stuff is going to be regardless of whatever happens there. Because it takes congressional approval and all that stuff. I think that horse is dead. Maybe more contract Red Air, but definitely not the T-38. Thanks, Mover, and Godspeed wherever life takes you. Love to see you in Gonk in the air again, going Mach 2 with your hair on fire. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Here's one from Chris. Reiterate on my unsubscribe comment. So this is from our last live. Hey, I know these are trying times these days, and I'm sorry for unsubscribing. You do good content, but I'm getting tired of the falsities being spread. You know as well as I do, if not more, the propaganda spreads like a wildfire. The ghost of Kiev is no different. However, that said, you probably should have done a 5 to 10 minute video about this instead of a live stream. Propaganda is fuel worse than nukes. In my opinion, I may have gotten the wrong idea upon joining your live stream, but the inference I made was unsettling. This guy nailed it. I don't know what this is going to. We have to be real careful these days. No, I'm not supporting of Putin, nor am I a supporter of Zelensky. However, we need to stay out of this conflict, let them hash it out. Cheers. I hope this finds you well. See, that's the problem when you jump to conclusions. I did a live stream because we wanted to. That's what made the most sense at the time. I wanted the interaction with the fans, viewers, and I wanted the interaction with Wombat, and I thought that was the best way to do it. Because you joined when you joined does not change what the message was, which we weren't spreading falsities and we weren't spreading any propaganda or anything like that. We were analyzing what we knew and what we thought based on what was available. And I thought it was pretty balanced. And, this is the problem when people let their emotions rule. They get triggered because they don't understand and then they run off. It's just like on that same live stream, there was a commenter that got pretty upset because Wombat made a joke about tankers. That's fine. No, I don't think any tanker pilot got offended, right? Because these are, the whole idea that they shark fin and fly into the clouds is a pretty common trope. I mean, it really is. And the autopilot thing is a no shitter. I mean, they know, it's tougher for us when they click the autopilot off and hand fly while we're doing our hookups. However, they have to get a certain amount of time training hand flying. So it's not comfortable for either of us, but it's something they have to do. It's just we don't like it. A commenter was upset by that and said because his dad was a tanker pilot that he was offended. And I pointed out in my reply that you don't have the right to be offended for somebody else, especially when you don't understand what was even being said. So this emotional, people get so worked up emotionally, they don't understand what's going on because they're not insiders, and then get offended and make all these comments and stuff. And I think that's a problem across the board throughout our society that we live in an information age where all the information in the world is available to you, but we can't filter out our emotions from the facts, from what we want to believe, but from what we want to hear other people say, and then people just get all worked up over stuff. So let's get back to the comments. I just wanted to do that. And here I am sitting here with the comment up there. Yeah. Anyway, in what kind of Russian jet would you like to ride? I would like to fly any of them. I would not like to ride in any of them, or well. Let's see here. Radar displays in the HUD. Do you think radar displays in the HUD is a good or a bad idea? It just depends on how it's interfaced. I don't know. Um, Watching Reacher makes me wish there was an Amazon series about the Spectre series with real flying. The problem with that is it's expensive. The flying just incredibly makes the budget so much more expensive. That's what's tough. Mover, you're a test pilot. No, I'm not. I did not get the degrees required to go be a test pilot. Um, hmm. Alex Shepard series was a great read. Thank you. I really enjoyed writing that. Mover, bring an Apache pilot to your live stream and talk about DCS-1. Go to Casmo's channel. Save you the trouble. Just go straight to Casmo. He is the man. Um, do you drag race or road race? Who's faster head to head, your vet or Gonki's Mustang? Oof. Well, first of all, I go to the track road race. I go to a road course. Second, Gonki doesn't have a Mustang. He has a Camaro from the 80s. And third, Wombat has a Mustang, but you can't call it a Mustang because he gets triggered. So it's actually a Shelby, and my vet's faster. Did you enjoy incentive flights? Got one as a 20-year-old F4 crew chief with a lieutenant colonel who had flown in Vietnam and had the time of my life. Those were my favorite flights to do, to be honest with you. Not so much in T-38 because we didn't do pure incentive flights. We did FAM flights. And that could get a little complicated because we had to continue the mission. Like I had one poor ROTC girl. It was so bad. We were doing air combat maneuvering, ACM, with the F-22. And we had a certain profile we had to do with them so the student could get the training they needed. And before, the girl was like, oh, I don't know. I'm trying to decide if I want to be a pilot or not. And we're like, cool. Here's the deal, though. Unless something's going wrong, I can't stop. Like, unless you're like dying and this is an emergency, I can't stop. You just throwing up is not really that big a deal. And we were doing these sets with the F-22 where we had to start this one circle fight. So we basically turned across each other's nose to set up the fight, and it's a lot of back and forth. And this poor girl started puking back there, and I couldn't stop because the student was struggling with what he was supposed to do, and we were still in this engagement, and she's puking back there. I felt so bad, and she got back and we landed, and she's just like, I don't want to be a pilot anymore, this is awful. And yeah, but when I was in the Viper or even the Hornet, those are my favorite because they were dedicated rides. And I when in my brief, I'd be like, "Hey, this is your flight. We're gonna do what you want to do. This is supposed to be, you've earned this, so we're going to do what's fun for you." And we always had the standard profile, at least at Homestead. We do the unrestricted climb up to like 14, 15,000 feet, and then roll inverted, go back, and then descend down into the low level structure because we flew a low level down the Keys to the warning area by Key West. And then we'd climb up, we'd do a supersonic run, and then we'd pull 9Gs, well, 8.5. You really couldn't pull 9Gs with the tanks on. We'd pull Gs, do aerobatics, and then we'd do whatever they wanted after that. And a lot of people got sick, didn't want to do a whole lot, but I'd make them do the 9Gs and the Mach run because why else be in an F-16? But I had one guy, it was a short little bodybuilder, I think it was avionics back shop guy or something. And he, like, dude, he wanted to pull 9Gs just over and over and over and over. And I was like, all right, dude, we're bingo, gotta go, sorry. But yeah, it was the only time where I had to cry uncle. But I always enjoyed it. I always thought those were the coolest flights because I loved, the interaction with people that didn't necessarily see what we did and just kind of rewarding them with a cool flight in a jet. Plot twist mover yeah, is the ghost. Constantly trying to play it off like Batman. That would be cool, but no. How do you get bombers in pilot training? Track heavies and hope? Nope, that's a fighter track. So it's fighter track, or at least it used to be, and then you just didn't go to IFF, which is Intro to Fighter Fundamentals. If you could fly one jet recently put into service or coming in the near future, like the EX 6 Gen FCAS Tempest, which one would you want to fly? EX, F-35, any of those things. Let's see. Why is the war? What does CW mean? Cornwallis Wilbur. Flying the Viper, 350 knots, cast, pitch override. You bank 90 degrees, full forward stick. What happens to you in the jet? Oh, bad things. Why would you do that? Don't do that. Why? Why? You wouldn't. It'd be tough to do to try to get to the MPO switch. Do thing if Ukraine was equipped with Patriots and F-16, 18, F-35, Russia would be able to take over the airspace so easily. I don't know that they're able to take over the airspace easily now. Like, I don't know that that's a thing right now. So, would it be more difficult? Possibly. Obviously, if they had American air power against them or NATO air power, it would sure be a lot easier. Let's see. What VR are you using? I'm using the Reverb G2. If you could go back in time and choose a different career path as far as military aviator's role is concerned, what would you have done? I'd have stayed at Homestead longer. That would have been probably a thing. Yeah. If I could talk to my former self, I would have said, hey, stay at Homestead a little bit longer, chill out, go through the IPUG, instructor pilot, then worry about going to other places. Would you rejoin the military? I'm still in the military, so no need to rejoin. Did you collect anything from your time in service? Thanks for the content. I've got a whole bunch of coins and patches and stuff like that. I don't necessarily know that I collect them, but I have them. Let's see, what else? Let's scroll down here. Thank you for acknowledging that this could have been prevented diplomatically, and I would add that a NATO without Ukraine is still very, very powerful NATO. Yeah, there's geopolitical arguments that go all the way back to the 90s about whether NATO um, involvement in NATO would have prevented this. I mean, because the Warsaw Pact and certain agreements and stuff like that, there's arguments to be made that this could have been avoided much sooner. But again, it just depends. Um, it just depends on how you look at it, and it depends too on leadership and what you're trying to accomplish at the time. Do you think that the ghost of Kiev is real or the Ukraine government? I don't think it's Ukraine government. I think it was some gamer that made it up from a story that may have had parts of truth. That War Thunder guy admitted that the whole thing that he made up the name and stuff. I think as with everything, it's tall tales, urban legends, and stuff like that. I just think it's improbable. Do you enjoy this? So many questions. Sounds like it takes its toll. Absolutely, I wouldn't do it if I didn't. I mean, I answer the questions as I go, and sometimes it's hard to keep up. But no, I think it's a lot of fun to sit here and see what the people say. And thanks, Thor. F-35 is visible on flight radar. Is it? I've never seen one at Eglin. I don't know that that's true. Will you marry me, mover? Hmm. What dowry do you bring? Let's see here. Did you serve with Wombat or met after? First of all, it's all caps Wombat. No, we met after. I met him through Gonki. I did not know Gonki or Wombat in my time. Russia airplanes provoking Swedish airspace yesterday. Two Su-24s and two Su-27s. That's not a new thing. They always do that. I think just a cocky pilot, not political. Any thought on that? I don't know the story behind that. I mean, I don't know about cocky pilot. It's very possible they wandered into the wrong airspace, but I don't know. Spectre series on Netflix would be awesome. I agree. Let's start that petition. JP says, "Hey mover, love the content. Thanks, JP. Uh, I'll bet the Alex Shepard or okay. Oh, here we go. Or Spectre series will get option for film. Yeah, his dad probably doesn't even care. I think his dad had actually was passed away because he said it was B-24, which again, it's no hit against anybody's father or anything like that. That's just the business. Like people make fun of Air Force dudes, we make fun of Navy guys. I was in the Navy and the Air Force, so I can make fun of both. We make fun of F-15 pilots all the time. I mean, that's pretty common. It's just part of it. And if you get offended by it, it's probably because you don't understand it. And we live in a world where everybody's offended for everything at all times. Have you heard of Y'all Motion Sim? Considering it for DTS, I've not heard of it. No, I don't know. I don't know. I'm the wrong person to ask about any of the technological nerdery. What do you think of the new F-16 Block 70? It's awesome. I mean, I think it's cool. Really cool. I'd love to fly one. I'm 34 years old. I've always dreamed about the RAAF, but life came in the way. I don't regret the path. Is it too late for me to attempt fast jet role? I'm proficient in academia and fitness. So in the RAAF, I don't know what the age limits are. I mean, all you can do is apply and make them tell you no. But I don't know the answer because I don't know. In the U.S., you would be past. It's 32 and 33 in the U.S., so you'd be past um, the hard stop for the age, but you could possibly get an exception to policy. Press F to pay respect for the Antonov. Yeah, I saw that picture, man. That's terrible. Are you still able to fly an F-16? Could I? Yes. Am I able to? No, I don't have access to one. Would you like a job flying skydivers in the People's Republic, Democratic Republic of Australia? No. Unless Margot Robbie's my boss. Then yes. Mover, will a fighter jet get a warning on the radar when an IR missile is inbound? Will it set a spike like a SAM? Depends on the equipment. Some jets have missile warning, but it's got to be missile warning. Hey, Mover, two questions. One, what do you think of the joke? Air Force is the chair force because they sit in chairs all day. And what's the difference between riding a fast roller coaster and flying a fast jet? Okay, the first joke is like something an eighth grader would say. I mean, it's cool. It's not funny, but it's cool. Um, and second, I don't know what's the punchline. What's is the second one a oh, the second one's a question. Roller coaster doesn't pull as many G's, and the onset rates are different. And you don't do negative. You're not pushing over and all that stuff. Maybe the closest you could probably do to a roller coaster is flying a low level. Uh, does the two-seat Viper perform any different? It has less fuel. It's a little different, but not significantly. Oh man, I got way behind. Hi, Mover. I work next to Huntsville International Airport where T-38s come in and out all day. Have you ever flown into Huntsville? No. That's probably Columbus jets doing that. Our guys never didn't really go up there. Uh, hey, dude, just showed him my recommended. What's the channel about? Me. Just me. It's my channel. Would you agree to volunteer to close the sky in Ukraine from the Russian fascist invaders? I would fly for the U.S., but my loyalties are with my country. How good of a dogfighter is the Viper or Hornet? They're both awesome. I love them. Spectre series on Netflix. Pitch it, mover. We need a lot of money to do something like that. Oh, show. Let's see. Are you still a fighter pilot? You're never not. You can't unbe a fighter pilot. Like you don't. Like one day you're not like, oh, tomorrow I'm not a fighter pilot anymore. You're always a fighter pilot. Do you collect any small plane models? I have some of stuff that I've flown, like the Hornet back there. People have sent me and a Viper. Hey, mover. A lot of countries would not exist had it not been for the U.S. military. That's probably true, and probably true still today. Yeah. Of course, the F-35 is visible if it has its transponder on. Yeah, but I don't know that it has MODAS, which is what you need for ADS-B. Any word on the assignment for you and Gonky? Nope. Nope. Not had any luck so far. Let's see. What else we got? T-38s? Yeah, you will see T-38s because they do have MODAS transponders. And it costs a lot of money to do it. Oh, here we go. For a newly active duty pilot, was a realistic timeline to transfer into a guard reserve unit? You mean you've just graduated pilot training? Probably 8 to 10 years. Probably 8 years to Palace Chase. No, I'm a major. How did you come up with the call sign Spectre? It just sounded cool. I mean, like AC-130 Spectre. I thought it was just a cool name. Just saw F-18 crash. That's all I saw. I have not heard that. Hope the pilot's okay. Who's the pilot that took down 20 plus Russian jets? I don't know. You tell me. If and when the Maverick movies come out, you still thinking about doing a watch party? I don't know. Part of me wants to. Part of me's thinking about just waiting until it comes out on Paramount Plus and watching it on my couch. You never know. What's the best way to support and encourage partner that is about to start Injept? Oh man, know that it's going to be busy. He's going to have to spend a lot of time with his classmates, a lot of time studying, and that's all you can do. You just support that effort. Try to remove as many distractions as you can, and just be there for him. It's cool that you want to do that, though. Let's see here. Does YouTube like a live stream better than record? I don't know. I don't know. My videos, no matter what I do, seem to like take this upward trajectory to about 30 or 40,000 views, and then just even if it's a very popular subject, it just flatlines. I don't know why. All right. When applying for guard positions, would using a letter of rec from someone who just graduated UPT carry any weight? What if they are sponsored by the unit you're applying to? I don't know about carry weight. They're good for like personal recommendations, like if it's your friend. If it's not somebody that you're a friend with, it's probably not going to mean anything. Uh, what is the simulators like for F-16? Does it feel real? I mean, yeah, you can buy DCS or was it Falcon 4.0 or whatever. I mean, nothing's gonna really feel real, but yeah. Let's see what else we got. Christine says sexy ears. Thank you. Have you ever considered doing motivational or public speaking? I, I've done one speaking engagement. It was to Tulane. Um, that was different. I wouldn't mind doing it. I mean, it just depends on what the topic is. I feel like there's not, a third act. Why do you think the mostly intact Ukrainian Air Force are not attacking that 40-mile long convoy? Are they mostly intact? So we didn't, the whole idea of sending 70 jets fell through. So the fact that we needed to send 70 jets is kind of a warning sign. And then the president, Zelensky, was just on asking NATO to send help. And if they couldn't send help for a no-fly zone, to send jets. So that tells me it's not mostly intact. Mover the astronaut, yeah, I'd go to SpaceX and fly as long as they don't require me to be a test pilot. Mover, talk to my boy Doug Masters. Actually, it was Chappie that hooked him up with a Viper. Doug Masters just flew it. Hey, Mover, love the channel. Congrats on your heli commercial pilot's license. Hope the job hunt is going well. Just curious if paid heli fan flights are out of the realm of possibility for you. It's not. I mean, you'd have to look at the legality, with the aircraft, but I mean, it's not completely out of the thing. Brandon had an idea that I become a CFI and then, do that with people. Like, oh, hey, you get a whatever hour lesson, but I haven't really looked at that at all. Joe's unsubscribing. No, subscribing. I'm so used to people unsubscribing. Thanks, Joe. Better gun platform, Hornet or the Viper? That's a good question. Are we shooting air to ground? I thought strafing the Hornet was pretty easy, especially with it in the nose. And the only thing was the gun cants up. So in the Viper, the gun was on your bore sight line over your shoulder. But in the Hornet, it cants up a little bit. So you got to depress a little bit more than you would in the F-16. What does a fighter pilot do when not flying? Whatever ground job they have. Safety, scheduling, operations, anything really. Let's see. Do you play Windows Flight Sim? I haven't. I haven't played it in a while. I'm supposed to do a review on the H145 module. I just haven't gotten around to it. What is the strangest sensation you feel while flying? I think when you push over. Any negative or minus G when you haven't flown in a while. See ya, Skid! Hey, Mover, any experience with NJEP? Nope. That's Euro NATO Joint Jet Pilot Training for the kids at home, but no, I haven't. Let's see. Let's skip down here. Those Turkish TB2 drones are hauling ass in Ukraine-Russia conflict. Love your streams, by the way, especially with Wombat and Gonki tuned in. Yeah. Hey, CW, as long as we're throwing out crazy job suggestions, you and Gonki should get venture capital to form a mercenary squadron F-16s for hire. It was the plot of a video game, so it must be possible. Yeah, it's job suggestions for military. Like, we're trying to find military jobs to get to TRICARE and get to retirement. It's not just jobs. We're not unemployed. It's just the military side of things. If the Ukraine does not control the airspace, your A-10s would be on a suicide mission. It'd be tougher. It'd be a lot tougher if we did not have air superiority. Who wrote your Wikipedia? I laughed at that when there was some. I've tried to change it too, and it won't let me change it. I did not write it. I think from some other country, some guy wrote it, and they emailed me after they did it, and then that's it. So I have no involvement of it. Did you see the story of the young dude who made the Twitter bot to track Elon's ADSP? No, I did not. For the guy who asked about the channel, this guy is more interesting than a Hollywood movie about a super billionaire spy, Batman, Superman, Hitman fighter. Thank you. That is awesome. Appreciate that. Random question, but I work in South Bend, Indiana, and a lot to see A-10 Warthogs flying around quite often. Any reason? Well, because there's A-10s at Fort Wayne, and there's probably a range somewhere around there. Are you on the reserve list for fighter pilots if needed? I don't think there is such a thing. I'm in the reserves, but I don't know about a reserve list of any kind. Because you have to, it's not just as simple as, hey, we call you up and you hop in. They'd have to call you up, recall you, put you in a transition course. If it's been long enough, you'd have to go to the centrifuge. Like, there's a lot of stuff that would have to happen. How much better does the pilotless F-16 perform versus one with a human in it? Probably not at all. I mean, zero. Maybe a little bit less weight in the nose. Hi, is it true that in one of the wars in Iraq, an American F-18 managed to down an enemy aircraft and then performed an air-ground attack? It's possible. I mean, we trained to do that. That is a thing. I'm rebuilding an F-14. Would you like to fly it? Tomcats! Yeah, I'll fly a Tomcat, sure. And then somebody asked, have you flown an F-14 before? No, I was too young for that. They were gone by the time I got in. How come you don't get paid sponsorship? Because I think it's tacky in a lot of ways. Like, I might consider it if it was actually a product that I believed in and cared about, but, just the random, like, oh, League of Legends or whatever, I think it's a little tacky. I don't like the whole sellout thing. When you were in the virtual airlines, which one was your favorite? The one I made, Eagle Airlines. I tried to merge with everybody, and I had Transit International Airlines too. But my thing was, I was just trying to be a mega mogul and take over everybody's airline. Any plans to pilot for your local sheriff's office? No, because we don't have a helicopter anymore. Would you recommend a degree to fly at the airlines? I mean, it's good to have as a fallback, but now it's not required. I would get one just in case. Would you like to fly a Spitfire? Yes. Do you have one? Do you really think you can take on a combat drone air to air? Yes, Fox 2. Hey Mover, great content. Sorry if you've covered this elsewhere, but did you ever do a red flag? What percentage of USAF pilots do that? Yes, I did one back in 2010, and it was a fun time. I don't know what the percentage of. I'm sure a lot of people do it at least once in their career. Tomcats. Oh, there you go. Sorry, I'm skipping a whole bunch because I'm trying to catch up here. Is the F-16 sim like the one in Iron Eagle? Ooh, I don't remember. Go watch my Mover Ruins movies because I talked about it. I don't remember. I don't think so, but I don't remember specifically. Tom says, love your channel. Thanks, Tom. Have you ever read the book Day of the Cheetah by Dale Brown? Your whole style reminds me of a character from that book. I have read one Dale Brown book. I don't remember what the name of it was, but I don't think that was it. Oh, thanks, Engaged Defensive. Are you going to go to the airlines and give the Skybus a chance? Not anytime soon. Working on other projects. Yeah. You have a V10 R8? Oh, R8, like the car. Yeah, drive that. That sounds cool. Have we talked about the Ghost of Kiev? Yes. There's a whole 1 hour live stream about that with Gonky. Anyway, well, this has been an hour, and people have told me these things are too long, so to speak. So, yeah, I think it's time to shut her down. I appreciate everybody for watching. It's been a fun mover mailbag. I always love doing these. So next week, Heli Expo. That's going to be awesome. If you're at Heli Expo, say hi. You'll see me and Lester. You'll probably see Lester first and then me. And then more mover mailbags in the future, more interviews in the future, the Finney Flight stuff. And then also, I'm going to start doing those, just drive around, talk about like some of the updates, like jobs, books, movies, all that stuff. Oh, here we go. Hey, brother, enjoyed your take on the ghost story. Don't understand why more people don't think like you. Because you don't want groupthink, right? You don't want everybody to think like me. It's nice to have opposing opinions. Currently a sophomore in college, planning to transfer to UCF and join the ROTC program. What else do I need to become a fighter pilot? Currently majoring in electronics engineering, still undecided if that major is necessary. It's not necessary, but it does help. Make sure your GPA is high. You can support it. Don't flunk out or anything. Do you find it surprising or factual that Russia has not gained air superiority in Ukraine? I do. We talked about this earlier in the thing and in the last one. I don't think we know what the entire air picture is, and definitions of air superiority vary. So I think it's tough to really say definitively, well, they don't have air superiority, they're doing something wrong. That could be something they're not one of their objectives. It could be we're not getting the full picture. We're getting misinformation, disinformation. I don't know. I don't know. If it is true, then yeah, it is a little weird. I think there's something to be questioned about them not getting it in the first couple days, but I don't know. I don't know what the actual picture is, and I don't think we will for a while. Anyway, all right. Well, that'll do it for today's Mover Mailbag. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Be safe with whatever you're doing. If you want to send me something, P.O. Box 8594, Mandeville, Louisiana 70470, or movermailbag@cwmloin.com. I will try to get to it as expeditiously as possible. Thanks for watching. See you next time.